Hi, I'm Donna Nova, the Transdimensional Twin Flame and the Afterlife Artist. I'm here again with session 9 of the Melafon journals. Melafon being the extraterrestrial that I met during a blind remote viewing session in a class that I was taking about how to communicate with non-human intelligences. And I communicated with him on 2 separate sessions because we were allowed to pick a being from one of our previous sessions and connect with him again. So this being is a beautiful, enlightened, gentle, kind, and feminine energy. I still use the term he. I don't know if it matters gender-wise one way or the other, really. But this being that named himself Melafon turned out to be, we were supposed to connect with the being from the UFO crash in Varginha, Brazil in 1996. This is a famous case, one of the most well-documented in history. There were very credible witnesses, lots of witnesses, children, adults, doctors, the military, the government, everybody. And this being was said to be enlightened. That's the effect that I was getting in my session. It was the most fun remote viewing session because his energy was amazing and beautiful and magical. And he said that he brings joy wherever he goes. And that's because he focuses his consciousness on whatever is the most joyous thing at any given moment. And then he said that he could be one of my guides and that that's why we had met. Because it was time for me, if I wanted to connect with him, and he would teach me, like school, every morning, if I would get up and start writing with him, that he would give me life advice. So I'm just recording these because, for one thing, I might lose this journal, so might as well just go ahead and read them so that I can have a record of it. And then also, if it turns out that I make these public, which I'm not going to do at first, but if I ever do, there may be interesting information in here for other people. This is just general basic life advice from a higher perspective. This being is very enlightened. And I believe I received a visitation from Melafon a few days after we met. He told me that he would be visiting me. And while I was recording one of these journal entries, I saw a green orb. While I'm looking through the phone screen, I see it, and it distracted me, and I was like, what was that? And I'm sitting here in the same spot that I always sit in, and it had never happened before. There's no light flares over here. There's no, reason for lens flare. If it was some kind of weird thing with the camera, that's one thing, but I never could get it to repeat. I sat here in the same spot with the same lighting and recorded all these other times, and nothing happens. But on this time, when I went back and looked at the video, there's 2 times where a green orb appears on the left-hand lowest corner of the screen. Almost like it's peeking in to say, hi, So I'm not sure what that is. I assume if it was him, he can do it again. But he told me for sure that this was going to happen. I said, can you visit me? And he said, oh yes, it's going to happen. So now let me read session 9 from today. I also do this so that I won't forget what he said. Let me get configured here. I do this so that I won't forget what he said myself, because it's good to read these things over and over again. You know what I mean? You can hear them and they can make sense to you in the beginning, and then you just ignore it. Like, my guides tell me stuff all the time, and I'm like, great. And then I go make food or do something else and don't instantly write down or follow their advice. And then I sort of forget. That says 2:10. Oh, that's the wrong one. Okay. Nope, we're on session 10. I knew that didn't seem right. Yeah, we're on session 10 today. It's the 13th of February. And what I was taught was that to draw myself, draw him, draw a connection between us, and then release anything that's bothering me so that we can connect, get into a meditative state. So I just wrote down the things that were on my mind. So me, when I talk, I'm in the blue. When he talks, he's in the purple. So I said, good morning, Melafon. I missed you the past 2 days. And he says, same. Glad you're here. Do you have anything you want to discuss? I'd like more I want to say, I'd like to be more connected still to the higher realms, like you, other ET friends and family, Chris and Ember, my twin flame and family and spirit. My life on the other side of the veil, and I am bored right now by the human side of things. And I am. It's January, February time. I just had the most amazing experience of my life in December of last year. So this time to me is just the time of hibernation and integration and rest, which is natural. But sometimes I get antsy and I want something amazing to happen again, or I want to know what's coming next, and I don't. And you're not supposed to know, right? So he's just reminding me of that. That's what he's going to talk about. So Melafon is speaking here. He says, boredom is a state of not knowing where the next direction is. Frustration comes from that state only when the current moment and the state of unknowing is resisted. When you are allowing of the present and not insisting on knowing the next step or next direction, you can actually feel freedom. It can be the most exciting place to be instead of boring. That's transmutation of a state of being. Not knowing is openness. It's freedom. All choices are open. Your focus during this phase can shift from fear and frustration at what you don't know to excitement at what comes next. Because you know it will. Wait, because you know it will? Okay. Because whatever comes next will come eventually, I guess. It always does. Practice gratitude for what you enjoy and what you and Chris, for who you and Chris are. Focus on him and your family in spirit. Turn down the noise of the physical world, like I've mentioned before. Go inward during these waiting zone phases, like a waiting room, he said. Take care of practical matters that will make the move forward. That will make the more forward-moving active phase easier. So he's saying to take care of some practical things that will make my next move easier when it comes. Like selling some belongings, donating them to the thrift store or other organizations, cleaning, organizing, researching whatever calls me. And don't forget, every time you follow your nudges, and your passion, your new doorway opens itself. But you're actually the one opening that door. Now is the time for quiet practice of new and familiar spiritual tools. You have the free time. Beef up your practices. Follow your spirit guidance from me, Chris, and your other guides and your higher self. Relax so you can perceive this better. Be excited for the new beginnings yet to come. And then he listed these words: integration, relaxation, excited anticipation, reflection, going inward, love, and gratitude. So those are good things to focus on right now, he said. Basically, get some practical matters out of the way and clean up my life and go back into my practices and just keep practicing these things while I integrate all the beautiful things that have come to me recently, waiting for the next phase. There's always an integration phase for me before I up level to the next phase. And I can always tell what's happening, but sometimes I do get antsy or a little bored because nothing of the old world, nothing that served me in my old life serves me now. even the music that I used to like, sometimes I'm bored of it now. Nothing holds my attention that much right now because I'm moving between states. There's always dips and valleys, the sine wave, it's up and down. So I'm in one of my slow phases right now, and I'm a maximum achiever type person. So I'm like, where's the next thing, And he's saying, just be grateful for what you have. Go back to your practices. Keep practicing, because it's not about like achieving highs. It's about doing the real spiritual work. And then get your house in order, basically. Get your mental house, physical house in order. And take care of practical things right now, because you're not up, doing some crazy higher realm stuff right now. You're kind of in a hibernation phase. So this is when you do that stuff. And then he went on. Sorry if the book moves around some, because I'm trying to read it and I'm legally blind, so I can't really read it through the phone very easily. So I'm trying to figure out how to read it over the phone, but also hold it close enough to I can see it and get it in the camera as well. So I do apologize for that. But I'm just doing the best I can. And I may not even ever release these videos, so who cares? And then he says, relax and enjoy the ride. Earth School is a program that you can break out of, just like the mall world. The mall world is the dream world that a lot of gate children like myself say that they have experienced over and over throughout their life. It's a dreamscape where you can't escape, and I'm sick of it. So that's what he's saying. He's like, you can break out of the 3D program the same way you that you can break out of mall world and anywhere else, because nothing can hold you. He said, why only tear down mall world? By the way, I can bilocate to higher dimensions. So Chris, my partner, Twin Flame Chris, and I have created a playlist with images of our dragons who breathe the violet flame, going into the mall world and destroying it from the inside while we have an amazing rave. So there's a playlist on YouTube, with images. They're all encoded with light codes of the higher dimensions from me and Chris. Chris picked the music. He picked the music for the energy, not for necessarily the words or anything, but some of them are good as far as the words and the message matching our task. But I've been there, and my dragons are amazing. They transmute because they breathe the violet flame. So they're transmuting the darkness of mall world into a paradise, like a like a Garden of Eden, I guess. They break the ceiling, light streams in, fountains and beautiful plants emerge. There's light everywhere, and everybody is levitating and dancing to amazing music and having fun. We are destroying whatever trap mall world is. And I realized that I could probably do this when I realized what my abilities are, which is bilocation to higher dimensions. I've already been to these places. The dream world isn't really that much different than the astral. It's, we astral travel in our dreams. It's the same thing. If I can do it while I'm awake, I can, if I can do this to have fun, which I have, and I've brought other people with me to bilocate because I realized I had that ability, and it comes through light codes that I implant in the music and the images. So I figured, why not? I think we're all sick of mall world. If you were in the Gifted and Talented Education Program or GATE program where we were tested for psychic abilities, you've probably had this dream over and over again throughout your life. I've had this dream for about 45 years, and I didn't realize certain dreams were related to the mall world. There's also an amusement park and an underground market and a hotel and a motel and a parking lot and all these crazy topsy-turvy roads, and it's by the ocean, and there's a tsunami, blah, 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 blah. There's just this endless complex of things that you can't really escape, and I'm so sick of it. So that's what he's referring to. Sorry to go off on a tangent, but that is what he's talking about. And you can find that list on YouTube. It's called Interdimensional Rave to Destroy Mall World, something like that. And there's a picture of my dragons in the mall destroying it, because that's what I experienced the other day. And by the way, the day after I sent my dragons there, and I went there with my partner, and we watched them do this. We were in the middle of the chaos, and they were basically just destroying Mall World while we just watched and made out. And the next day, I could barely move from ascension symptoms. When my energy is very much expended by doing these things, these bilocations, they're real. And I can tell because, well, I can tell because I know what they are, but my body betrays it as well, because I will have really bad ascension symptoms and exhaustion after these events. So that was real. Then he continues. Okay. What does that say? Use your and Chris's skills in the 3D too. How do you think you could break out of the 3D mindset? And I said, if I knew that, I'd have been gone long ago. And he said, well, music, parties, raves, dancing, and even making and writing music, because Chris is a musician, singer, songwriter, and DJ, and I always wanted to be that. We both had musical talent because twin flames have the same talents. And I've always wanted to make music and play instruments. I haven't played an instrument since I was a kid, and I was good at it, so I should do it again, and I just don't know how to do that. So Melafon is telling me to have music, parties, raves, dancing, making music, and opening up to those things. And I said, I've been open for decades to music, but no idea how to learn to make it. I don't want to spend money on a class. How should I learn? And who is gonna want a rave? Nobody I know. I've already considered all this over and over, which is how I feel. I feel like I already know all these things. I already know that I think dancing and music is a key to ascension. I channel with music. I listen to house music that my Chris in spirit sends me, encoded with higher level frequencies, higher dimensional frequencies. It up levels me and it makes me channel. I can feel it vibrating my whole body. And I will spontaneously bilocate sometimes because of the music. So I feel like I've just been over and over this and I still don't have a clue. Like, how am I supposed to learn what it is I want to learn? I kind of want to learn some weird Indian instruments. I don't know. I guess I just don't know where to start. And so Melafon says, then there's your clue that you're onto something. It keeps coming up. Ask around. See what music devices are out there. I think he means for like recording things. Just be open to this and observant of opportunities. Take them when they come and be open. Don't block anything with thoughts of how it won't work. Now that's true. I know that too. When you block something that you want instantly by saying that you can't have it. Anytime that you say you can't have something or whatever it is that you're saying to yourself, you've basically blocked it for yourself. So that's that for today. And thanks for watching.